And I think we are live now.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome to Compress It Like an Idiot live.
For absolutely no reason at all.
For no reason whatsoever.
For Ned reason.
It's the very good. It's the 1st of April, 2023. And I'm here with Turismo Blue.
Hello.
And user-friendly sounds.
Hello.
And we'll be joined by some other people later. So, how's it going, guys?
Doing all right. Enjoying the weekend. Now here with friends, live on the internet, talking with internet friends.
Are you looking forward to an evening of hardcore loose bands?
Yes.
Good.
Expect nothing less.
Before we get started, I just wanted to tell everyone about there's a 30% discount on the Ned Rush merch store. Can you guys see that right now?
We can say that, yes.
Every item is 30% off. So go in there and buy some stuff. Maybe get yourself a pint glass. 30% off the Ned Rush pint glass. Or maybe the baby onesie for your baby.
If you get your baby the onesie, you have to send us pictures.
And then you have to send pictures, yeah.
This is
you
like
take pictures of your baby anyway.
This is like the brought to you by advertisement before the show
This is
started.
my self-sponsor. I'm sponsoring myself.
This stream brought to you by the Ned Rush merch store at creatorspring.com.
You can get...
Remember, kids, you can buy any of this merch in many colors, but we all know the brand-appropriate colors are the charcoal gray and orange.
Today's live stream is brought to you by me. You've got Compress It Like an Idiot t-shirts in nice pink. Or get yourself the Ned Rush beanie. And
you know, Ned, I think I might have to go for the trucker hat.
Well,
Being a
I know.
Trucker hat man myself.
Yeah, I know you like a bit of trucker chic, as do I.
I know.
Got mine here. I can't put it on. I've got headphones on. And then there's the Compress It Like an Idiot trucker hat stickers. Buy the stickers. Stick them on your favorite surface. Ned Rush hoodie. More Kicks and Friends t-shirts. Go and buy the merch. 30% off for all of April. Okay, that's that segment over.
Just a note about the stickers. If you do get them, place them in a cool place, but also responsibly. Do not place them on a dead pigeon, or you will get a legal notice. I have done this in the past, and I've gotten in trouble for stickering a dead pigeon to the ground.
The other thing I think it's worth pointing out is that all of the merchandise is overpriced by 15%, so there's really no discount.
I will also mention that it's much more expensive, less expensive in the U.S. Ned was only seeing the British prices.
This is the base price that they give you. No, I'm not going to trash talk this company. From what I hear, the quality. I bought one of Phil's fellow passenger t-shirts from his Teespring shop, and the quality was pretty good. But this is like the base level kind of recommended price that they recommend. Anyway, I don't know why I'm looking at it. No one else can see it. So, welcome to Compress It Like an Idiot. We're just going to chat and, talk about things that we've been up to. A couple of things coming up. I want to talk about More Kicks and Friends a little bit. And also, we'd be happy to take some questions from the chat. I'll be looking at the chat. Damien will be looking at the chat. Gus
yes, we have a question already. Do you want to answer that, or do we want to talk about More Kicks and Friends first?
More Kicks and Friends can wait. Let's do a question now.
Okay.
Do it now.
So, Food for the Gods asks, favorite food and beverage combination?
Favorite food and beverage combination? I would say two. I have two of those, and they're really rather pedestrian. But that would be steak and red wine, or curry and beer, curry and cold lager.
You classy motherfucker. I was going to say
cold
pizza, warm beer all day, but if I actually had to think about it,
what about you, Gus? What's your favorite food and drink combination?
Peanut butter sandwich with milk
No jelly?
No, with jelly.
That does
What
sound
kind of
quite
jelly?
good.
What kind of jelly? That's important.
What kind of jelly?
I don't know what we have. We have some sort of fancy, but I think Smucker's is probably the best because it's just straight sugar.
Of course, here in England, we don't call it jelly. We call it jam.
There is jelly and there's jam and there's preserves as well.
Preserve, yeah. Or chutney.
Those are
That's
three
what I
different
have.
That's definitely one thing I would definitely consider getting into, is making my own jam, my own chutney, preserves, just chuck a load of stuff in a jar and leave it for like months and then have it on toast. This is the most IDM conversation we've ever had.
Speaking of which, Broccoli asks, can you live stream a 420-hour loop of the Amen break? Well, that's really for Ned to answer, but I'm going to say I feel like we can do better than that.
420 hours, or does he mean 420 as in the date 420?
Nope, 420 hours.
I mean, there's a 10-hour one on YouTube anyway that you can put on if you need to fall asleep.
Yeah, just watch that one 42 times. I don't know,
Yeah.
Ned, maybe you could make a bunch of max effects that affect and chop an Amen break over. Will YouTube even let you stream for 420 hours? I get the meme, Broccoli, like 420 rad, but I think 69 is better, more nice.
I mean, I would need looking after. I would need things brought to me, supplies, clean clothes, food,
Like one of those Japanese game shows where you get locked in a house for a month and you slowly unlock things to survive.
Yeah, 420 hours is a pretty long time. Isn't that like a month? That's like a year. That's like 6 months.
20 hours? No.
That's like a year.
No. So
A month.
I don't know. I'm not going to do that math right now. You
Let's
in the
move
comments can sort out the math for that one. Your boy Trismo Blue ain't doing that.
17 and a half days.
Oh,
17 and a half days.
that's a long time to listen to one thing. That's effectively torture.
Okay, but wait a minute.
I think the answer is no, basically.
You are a bit more senior than I.
I thought you were going to say
Ned Rush.
senile then. You're a bit more senile
So
than the
what
rest
I'm going
of
to say is you've been hearing the Amen break for a lot. You've been using it a lot. How many days of Amen break do you think that you've consumed so far in your life?
Certainly a
17 and a half days.
When I'm like making max patches and I need something to test them on, I sometimes just chuck the Amen break on because I know it so well. I can hear the difference that's being made. So sometimes that's just going for like hours and hours and hours whilst I'm patching and I've forgotten that it's even running. And so I would say a good handful of hours. Probably. Maybe that's why I'm so insane.
Yeah. This is what I don't know where he is. Wait, I'm just going to point up because I think you're up above me. This is what too much Amen break looks like. This is what it will do.
Yeah, don't do 420 hours of Amen breaks, kids.
Yeah.
It's
Next
bad.
question. Also, chat. If you can tag me at Turismo Blue in the chat, I'll be able to see him easier.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Next one from the Food of the Gods. 1 to 10. How silly do you think it is to describe music genres as intelligent? 10.
It's very silly.
Give a
Intelligent
1 to 10
country
rating.
music.
On 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10 of how silly, I would say 11.
These answers go to 11, folks.
Intelligent Christian country is sort of detrimental by saying that there's an intelligent version that exists outside of the one that you know. So it's a good thing that it's hidden in the acronym, because I suspect most people, if they knew, would be like, who thought that was a good idea? intelligent dubstep. Like, it sort of doesn't really... It's like, what, you saying my dubstep's stupid?
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to start fights.
Seems to
I
a lot
think
of
my
people.
music is quite intelligent.
I think mine is
is.
quite stupid.
I know. Every time I see a video of an Elektron box with an aesthetic background, it's like it's talking down to me. And then when you make the modular synthesizer and the box talk to each other, I know that the conversation they're having is above my intelligence level, and they are talking about me in a negative way.
It's not showing up.
Oh, that's awesome. It's blending in with you.
I'm the IDM drum machine. It's not actually fucking... Oh, it's there.
Intelligent funeral doom metal. That was my band before Trisma Blue. LOL. Okay. Next question from Matthew Poulter. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
Lots of questions.
Depending on your creative mood, what is the go-to technique and instrument that gets your juices flowing? I'm guessing they mean creative juices, because the instruments that get my juices flowing, I don't think we can talk about on YouTube.
I'm not discussing personal juices. Well, I've got some quite stimulating juices here.
They said instrument.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Technique or instrument. They did not say beverage.
I don't know. What's your go-to technique and instrument? Well, it's Ableton. Sorry to be boring. Everything else that I have, I have fun with, but it doesn't necessarily get things going. If my intent is I want to get something going with the intent of finishing it, then I have to start in Ableton.
So,
a boring answer.
What are you doing to get your creative juices flowing? Like, are you already inspired to do something when you open Ableton, or do you open Ableton and start doing something, and that's how you start your work process?
I'll just pull in a drum. I'll look for a drum loop that I like in the moment and pull that in, and then go from there and see where it takes me. And that's pretty much. I'll just pull in a clip and put it in a clip slot and hit go and go from there, really. And then I'll get, I'll start thinking, what can I do to make this more interesting? And then I pretty much just chuck a load of plugins on. 10 years ago, I might have done it very differently. But now I'm like really lazy. So, I don't know. What about you guys?
You go first, user friendly.
For me, it's trying to figure out some particular thing about, whether it be a piece of gear or software or whatever that I don't understand. So if I'm not inspired in any way, surely there's something about an Elektron box or a eurorack module or a plugin, some particular thing I have, and I'm not 100% sure how it works. I'll essentially, whether it be reading the manual or looking up YouTube videos, whatever it is, and make sure that I completely understand how it works. And in the process of figuring it out and using it, I usually get something rolling.
Nerd.
Yep. I told you it's intelligent music.
You just call him a nerd.
I did. These are the bands. These are the bands. For me, something that gets the creative juices flowing, very similar to Ned. I'll often open up Ableton, and I find what really gets my creative juices flowing is I will open up Ableton and then spend about 15 minutes-ish making a track I don't intend on finishing, kind of like a warm-up when you're doing exercises or something like that. I'll just pull in some samples I have, or write a stupid melody, or just take a drum loop and chop it up. But do that for about 15 minutes until I feel warmed up in a creative way, or what I'm making is just so god awful I need to start something else.
Okay, I've got a question.
Yeah.
As a counter question. Where is the point that you've reached where you think this is crap, I've got to stop and start again? Like, where's that kind of point between like, oh, if I stick at this is going to go somewhere, or like, if I keep going at this, I'm going to waste my time because this is terrible. This is terrible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That cutoff point.
When I realize that I can't add any new ideas to what I'm doing, or what I'm doing is following a pattern that I'm locked into, whether it be in sequences that I always do, or melodies I always do, or I've experimented to the point that it just sounds like mush. When you do start doing lots of like drum slice sampling, you can go down a rabbit hole and make like 30 different chains and sampler that are processing your drum break in 30 different ways. And at that point, it's too much. You are, there's not enough of the original, or you just spent too much time and it's just not sounding good, or what I was going after. If it's still something that I think is objectively good sounding, I might save that as an instrument rack or export a sample to use later. But I realize what I've been working on in this project as a song is not going to end up in a song. I don't think I answered the question, but
I think maybe you have. Maybe it's sort of like, if you feel like that you need to keep throwing things on there to make it better, then maybe it's never going to be, because it kind of needs to be good without having thrown anything on it. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you play like a bass guitar in and it doesn't sound very good and you keep putting stuff on it, it's not really going to make it sound better. You've actually just got to try again. And that's, you know, to use a recording bass guitar analogy. It's the same.
I don't know. For me, a lot of times for me, I kind of find when I'm like getting frustrated or like thinking that this is shit, it's not sounding good, et cetera, a lot of times I'll actually push harder to try and force it to work. I think it's a good learning experience, especially when it's like why does this sound so bad? Why does this sound so bad? I hate this. And then you turn the bass line off and it's like, oh, that's what it was. That's, you know, that was this huge, just like wrench being thrown into the whole thing. It was awful. Let me put something else in or whatever else. Other than that, usually for me, projects die kind of natural deaths. Like I'll just kind of keep working on something, and then I'll just never open up the project again. I'll kind of forget about it. And to me, it's like if I have forgotten about it or not opened it again, then it was probably not very good. Which is fun because then I go and look through my hard drive 6 months or a year later and find projects that I have completely forgotten about. It's like, oh, this is really good. I should keep working on this. And then I don't.
I'd like to slightly contradict what I've just said and actually say that in some instances, it can just be that you put, like, you do actually add something and that makes all the difference. Like, and for me, that's kind of the snare drum. I've had a handful of experiences where I've had something that's like, oh, I've put so much work into this, but it's just sounding awful. And I can't really go back and start again because I've come too far. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I just put another snare drum on top. And I'm like, oh, that's it. That's it. So sometimes you can put more on. That's why I'm slightly contradicting myself.
Or sometimes you can stop, go eat something, drink some water, and come back to it, and it'll sound a lot better.
Yeah, take a break.
100%. And sometimes, especially if you initially like the idea, but as time's gone on, you're starting to like it less and less, put it down, turn it off. If you've got other tracks to work on those, or work on something not music related at all. Give it a couple hours to a day or two, then come back to your track and determine if you still like it. If it still sounds good after that, then it's good. If you come back after a couple days and you're like, I'm not seeing what the idea was, then nothing's going to come of it.
Yeah, I agree. Good bands. I do enjoy the sound designing better than writing music sometimes, and I'll open Ableton just to play around. Well, that's marvelous. Well,
I'd argue that's one of the best ways to do it too. Keeping sound designing and writing music as two separate sort of processes, and then
Yeah.
taking either samples from that sound design, or like, if you've made some sort of patch in a plugin or whatever, and bringing that into something that you're working on can just really speed things up.
I made this Max patch this week that kind of sort of nearly procedurally generates snare drums by filling a buffer with noise, but it's like it's looped noise, so it's not like constant noise. It's like a buffer of like 512 samples that just gets filled with random values that makes noise. But then you can just kind of keep refilling that buffer with a push of a button, and it completely changes the tone. And then it goes into sort of quite a standard snare drum engine of like, that's the noise part, and then there's a sine wave or something to give it the body. But then you can just keep hitting a button and it changes the timbre of it. I'm going to put
Hey,
it on
let me get that patch. Yeah.
it's on my other computer. Maybe I could go and get it in a minute. But I'm going to put it on Patreon at some point. The lucky snare, I was going to call it. And the lucky kick. There'll be a lucky kick as well. So
is it the same thing as the Lucky Ride, just for snare drums?
yeah.
I meant like architecturally. Like, is it the same thing, but you just kind of changed out the way it's being processed, and now it's snare drums instead of ride cymbals?
Yeah, it'll just randomly generate one. But rather than using noise, like constant noise, it uses a wavetable of procedurally generated noise. So it kind of has a certain quality about it. Maybe I'll go and get it off the other computer in a bit and we can have a listen. That's what I've been doing this week.
So I had a question for you, Ned. Do you think you or one could make a full track off of like feedback loops and randomized effects and whatnot, so that you're not inputting anything like any MIDI notes, but maybe like one MIDI note? You're not writing in chord changes and whatnot. Everything is set up to change at certain times and whatnot to make a song. Do you think you could make a song with that? Or go ahead.
I would certainly try. I mean, I like the idea of kind of making stuff without, without any MIDI, and just kind of tuning things using resonators and, feeding noise into them, which is kind of what's fun about that sort of stuff. But yeah, go on.
Well, you can definitely, and I know you specifically can definitely make those things to make those musical things. But I'm sort of talking about in a way that we're not like sampling the different feedback things and then arranging a song. You've just programmed Ableton, so you hit record, and then you press stop whenever you're ready, and then that's your song. It's ready. That's it.
I've made tracks like that, but they're generally they're not really tracks, but they are sort of extended sections of things that I thought that I would use at some point. Like if I'm doing like some interesting breakbeat thing that's kind of just skittering away, then I'll sample like 64 bars of it or 128 bars of it. Then it goes in a folder. And sorry, Nick is messaging me.
But you wouldn't release that as a song.
I wouldn't release it as a song, but I've got like a folder of stuff that's kind of like that I could pull into like live sets later if I've got a live set that I need to do, and I'm sort of like, oh, I haven't really got any material. It's like, oh, well, I've got like some things here that I could just pull in, and it's just 64 bars of ideas that don't really go anywhere. They're just like little sort of jams that I've recorded. Mostly from just using generative stuff and then capturing it.
Suppose you had some stuff prepared for a live set and wanted to play live on More Kicks Than Friends. How would one go about doing that?
Sorry, ask again. I was messaging Nick the Zoom link. Sorry.
I wasn't paying attention to you.
I'm sorry.
What the heck, guys? Now Nick's here. Now I'm really screwed. I said...
Hi, Nick.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, boys.
We're live on the internet. Isn't it exciting?
Oh, wow. You're streaming this shit, aren't you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Gus was going to ask a question. Go on, Gus.
Yes. If you had something prepared and you wanted to play it live on something like More Kicks Than Friends, and you wanted to know about, how do you sign up for that? What are the parameters, these sorts of things? What would you say to that?
I'm glad you asked, because I was going to mention this. I announced this.
Damien once again didn't hear what I said because he's not paying any attention.
I'm talking to the chat, who's actually more important than you, user friendly.
Damn it.
Yes, I would like to talk a little bit quickly about More Kicks and Friends. And I was actually watching some the other night, and I thought that maybe I'd like to pull up, because I kind of own the content, I think. Obviously, the artist owns the content as well. There's a very loose arrangement. But I was thinking
the content.
I've been leased it. So, but I was thinking I could probably live stream clips from the old shows now, and it'd be totally fine. Because I was going through some, I was like, God, this was good. But anyway, so we're going to do another More Kicks and Friends in June. The date will be announced on June the 3rd. The deadline is June the 3rd, and it's an open call. So by that I mean anyone who wishes to. Basically, I'm not going to really approach people this time. I'm just going to put it out there, and if people want to do it, then they can get in touch with me. I made like a blog post that sort of explains some of the kind of criteria, I guess. But so really, it's centered on performance of audio and visual content. Preferably that you have made, and preferably that is exclusive for the broadcast. And whilst it may not be possible for people to submit new content, I'm not entirely against the idea of using stuff that's already there. I just quite like the idea of it being exclusively for the show. So if you've got, a home setup and you can record it, stick your phone up somewhere, just film yourself messing around with it. Or, if you've got some crazy Touch Designer patches, or you just want to film your Ableton session screen, or you want to make a weird short movie with stuff from some, copyright-free website or something. Basically, no copyrighted material, because I want to try and make this a fundraiser for charity. And so if copyrighted material gets broadcast, the stream will be demonetized. And so I will not be able to give the revenue to charity. So that is also quite important. I think that was kind of everything I wanted to say. If you want to get in touch with me, just do it on social media. Just get me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, TikTok, Telegram, Signal, MySpace, GeoCities, MSN, AOL,
Gmail,
not Gmail. I'm not giving out my Gmail.
And for the real ones, you can find him on SoulSeek in the right chat rooms.
You can get me on SoulSeek if you want. I'll go on SoulSeek. We can talk there. That's all I have to say. More Kicks and Friends coming June. It's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be the best. It's music television.
Ned, I've got something to say about More Kicks and Friends.
Okay.
I'm calling you out for a showdown. Me and you, jungle racks versus one another. I'm going to be out there in a month in your home turf. And we're going to throw down. I'll take
yeah, you are.
Push. We'll go versus. It'll be a back-to-back versus set. And we'll let the people decide who is the jungle rack champion. It's me.
We could do that in my front room.
Yes.
We could shoot that in my front room with the green screen.
Master versus apprentice. Anakin versus Obi-Wan. I'm going to try not get my legs cut off like in the movies.
We're going to have WWF breakcore.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I even got American flag shorts for the occasion.
Okay, I'm going to wear my Branston's Pickle t-shirt, something like that.
And Dunk, please get yourself a I Have the High Ground sample.
Okay, these are all strong ideas.
You don't know my power.
I can't do Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan. I can only do Alec Guinness. I guess it's sort of the same, but young. So yes, More Kicks Than Friends. Deadline June the 3rd. Go and watch some of the old ones. Maybe I'll show you some clips a bit later once I've gone and I think I bookmarked up. But yeah, it's going to happen. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be some cool music from all over the world. And perhaps even you people will be there performing it. Okay.
So we got another question while you are pulling up some clips, Ned. What's your ICQ number, Ned?
I don't know what an ICQ number is. What's that?
Me neither. I was hoping you did.
No, I don't know.
I know, it's an old messenger. I still remember mine.
Is it like RSS feed?
Yeah, it's like it's more like Telegram and shit like that. When you had a number, you can send messages to people in files as well, as far as I remember. And I still remember mine. Like I sometimes use it as a password.
I'm not really on Telegram.
Web ICQ is a quick way to stay connected. Convert audio messages to text. Use smart replies.
They were listing off old school media. Yeah. GeoCities. The 90s. Well, I think now is a really good time to have a word from our sponsor. So just to remind everyone, there's a 30% discount on the Ned Rush merch shop right now for all of April. You can get 30% off the baby onesie. Let's have a look at that, shall we? There's the baby onesie in 4 colors: pink and black. Black is quite nice, and white. The baby onesie, 30% off. Just letting you know about that. Go and pick up some merch, thanks. All right. Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
What next? Damien, what about Bangface? Tell us about Bangface.
Oh, yes. For anyone listening in the UK or going to Bangface, I will be playing there. I'm on Friday at 1 a.m. UK time, part of the Suck Puck Records Fuck the Borders stage takeover. Also, there's going to be Goreshit, Captain Raveman, Null Hypothesis, Indian Junglist. I think Alex Tune's going to be there, Fat Frumos. I'm sorry to any of the crew. Oh, Lax and Nachos. Sorry to any of the crew. I'm forgetting. There's like 10 of us. It's going to be an awesome time. I want to see you there at Bangface. It's my first time coming to the UK. First Bangface, first crazy festival like this. Making some all new tracks for it. Oh, did we want to review people's tracks, Ned? Do you want to leave that open to that today?
I'm open to that. I don't really know how would they get them to us? Would they just post a SoundCloud link?
Yeah, if you got like a private SoundCloud link, I think that'd be the best way. Or maybe like a Google Drive link. You could probably pull up as well.
In the chat, can they do that?
Ooh.
Can they post things like that in the chat?
I don't know.
If you can get the song to us,
yeah,
we'll review it.
I'll leave this in the viewer's hands.
You could post it in. I don't really know how that would work. How would we do that? I don't want to give out my email. We could post it on Discord, maybe. Add me as a friend on Discord. My ICQ number is
Ned Rush in the Discord. Maybe he'll see the notification.
Yeah, post it in post my music on Discord. Post your music on Discord and at me, and then say review, please. Don't know.
If you want feedback, say what kind of feedback you'd like. Otherwise, Ned will just make a feedback loop. He's very literal like that.
I'll feed it into an eternal loop of doom for 420 hours.
Which
That'll
is
show
17
you
and a half days.
17 and a half days. And obviously, Nick can give us his sound advice on mixing, because he's Mr. Mix Master.
I must add that it's going to be a terrible advice as well.
That's fine. My advice is always terrible. We can go down as the terrible advice guys.
It looks like it works. Can you approve the comment? Did it get held for review? Because I'm not seeing
Sorry,
That's what we're
which
talking about.
I've currently got no comments being held for review,
Okay.
but
Maybe
I don't
kind of
see any.
footnotes.
I don't see any links being posted. But and I can't go to the comment. I don't think.
I love that you all got all dressed up and fancy for this stream. Like, I wish you'd be as fancy when you're talking with us. Like, if anyone in the chat thinks this is a Ned studio, it's not. It's definitely not.
That's my front.
It's a friend's
That's
house.
his living room.
No, this is my front. This is my front room. It's a photograph of my front room, which I've took just to make the.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just beige.
I have 4 t-shirts and 4 pairs of pants. I wear the same 4 t-shirts and pairs of pants every day.
Mr.
Wow.
Friend,
Whether I'm
with
in
a
front of
beard
you or
like
not.
yours,
That's
I
amazing.
think it can be allowed.
Are they all black?
It's charcoal.
Oh,
It's charcoal, actually.
actually, it's chalk.
It's French.
I make
Actually, it's
intelligent
charcoal.
music. I make
I'm an intelligent person.
music.
It's intelligent charcoal, actually.
Intelligent charcoal.
It's not just any old black. Anyway,
Well,
Man,
but
we do
it's
have a
really
serious
not
question
black.
for you.
Charcoal and black is quite different. I would just like to.
I would say
state that.
charcoal is like shiny black,
No,
yeah.
it's like gray. It's like dark gray.
like a crow.
The SH
The
101. It's like a mix between the SH 101 and the black rhythm in color.
I would call that gun metal.
I would call it charcoal.
Okay,
I
next
think
question.
gunmetal is a bit more greenish.
That's like tank metal.
You can ask
So, Ned,
ChatGPT.
We do have a question for you.
Okay.
Is your favorite VST plugin series going to continue at some point?
I don't know, because I don't have any favorite VSTs. If new ones come along that I like, I don't have any in the works right now. I feel like I did all of them because I don't really use any. Nick, you've got some plugins you've been working on. We'll talk about that if you want very shortly.
They're amazing.
You're quite poorly lit. Do you think you could light yourself a bit better?
He's left the chat.
That's a bit better. Yeah. That's just the same. It's exactly
No,
the same.
it's just the same. I don't think I can. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Ned, you kind of, if you have an idea for something you want, you just make that effect now. So I don't see why you'd really get a lot of VST plugins. There's not a lot out there that I don't think you could just make it yourself.
Probably if I was going to do another one, then I would probably do one about Reason 12, which is now a VST plugin, because I now have Reason 12 and I'm going to do videos about that and specifically using it as a plugin inside Ableton. However, I'm not going to do that just yet because it's not quite ready for Apple Silicon. Have to run it as an audio unit. An audio unit doesn't quite have the same buzz as VST in a YouTube thumbnail, I think. Plus, not that it makes a huge difference, but I'm going to wait. And I need to relearn how that program works anyway, because it's been about 10 years. But that's probably going to be an amazing VST, because it's basically loads and loads and loads of stuff anyway. It's not just one thing. It's like everything that they do, but running as a VST. So I've partially answered the question, I think.
So I've got a question, actually. Your Net Effects modules, there's 16 of them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in like individual effects now that you can put down, and they sound very good, by the way. You were sending me some of the early prototypes where it was all together in one thing. What made you split it into individual effects?
Really bad programming, and the CPU not going beneath 60% when being used. So I was like, can't sell this. So I took all the individual elements and broke them into separate bits and recoded them so that, yeah, they're just kind of singular patches rather than trying to get them all to work together, which I probably could have done if I'd put a little bit more time into it, but I was desperate to get them out and get some of that money because I needed money, because I love money.
So when you say poorly programmed, does that mean poorly patched inside of Max?
Yeah, I just don't think I was, whatever I was doing was a little bit, there was a lot of like multi-channel stuff in there, which I think is a lot to ask for like a single device. So there would, like, for each effect was kind of like its own multi-channel patch, and that can really kind of ramp up the CPU. So I was just like, this is too much. So I've still got them and I still like to use them, but as a commercial venture, it was a terrible idea. So that was why I did that. I would like to maybe consider doing something where they are all in one device, but there's something quite nice about just pulling in the one that you need, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of what I thought was good about it. All right. Well, so Nick, how have you been getting on with your EQs? You look tired.
I can already feel like this dying down. No, it's very good, very good. I'm finished with the queue. You saw comments, and I think I've addressed all of them already before he sent him through. So, yeah, very good. I'm very pleased with the EQ. I think it sounds good. I think it kind of works good as well. I tried it and tested it. I'm still waiting for you to sort of tell me if you found anything there apart from disgust. But yeah. Yeah, very good. I'm working on tape now. I decided to get the tape saturation in order first. So yeah, that's what I'm into at the moment.
I had a question about the EQ.
Sure, go ahead.
If you were to turn the low, mid, and high bands off,
Okay.
and just run sound through it, even though all those bands are turned off, should anything happen or should nothing happen? Because it's just a random question, not that I was expecting it to or not expecting it to, one way or the other. I was just curious.
So if you turn off so essentially it's a parallel EQ, which means bands are summed together in a summing amplifier. So when you turn them off, the band is just excluded from the whole mix, but you still get the saturation from the output section, and that's it. So if you turn on the bands, you still get the output stage working, and this is sort of how Pultecs work as well, because they essentially dip the signal in the input stage by, I think, 16 dB, and then it's boosted in the end by the tubes. So you still get this tube saturation even with bypassed units. So I aimed for the same thing. So you can still run your signal without affecting it with bands, with the filter bank, but the output section still provides this saturation and this effect. And you can overdrive it as well.
Yes, I noticed. It sounds fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
Maybe I'll just fill in that for anyone who's wondering what on earth we're talking about. Nick has been making Max for Live versions of some, Pultec. And any specific, like, reel-to-reel machine, or just the idea in general?
I think I just wanted to get the idea across, because it's a pretty good feeling when you get your material through the tape. It just adds this sort of a little bit of I can't even describe it. It's just like really mild sound, and it's barely noticeable. But it of course can be very noticeable if you overdrive the whole thing, independent on your tape deck. I have several. it really depends on the machine. And back in the days, engineers didn't overdrive them because they wanted to keep the signal clean, right? They wanted to record as hot as possible without getting into distortion. But distortion is what we all love. Just a little bit of distortion just adds this a little bit of brightness, a little bit of shininess to the signal. I think it works great. So I basically took models I knew, 2 models I had personal sort of attachment to, and the other one was like C37 is just impossible to get. It costs like tens of thousands of euros, and it's the one like very, very famous one with tubes inside and shit, like pretty old one, Studer. It's called Studer C37. And it's impossible to get at this point, but I modeled it. I have a Revox model which uses similar circuits. Revox is basically a sort of a home versions of Studer decks. So if you want a Studer deck into your home, you can go and search for Revox. They're just as good. They just are not sort of not engineered to handle studio level signals. So it gets distorted even earlier. And this might even be what you want. So yeah, so the plugin is sort of emulates that.
I found the website.
Yeah,
Is this
that's
it?
the one I have, yeah. I can show it actually. It's right. Oh, what the hell? Am I in the wrong camera? I'm in the wrong camera. Sorry, guys.
That's awful.
Yeah.
How can you be in the
Shame.
wrong camera?
It's just like, what?
shame.
Look at me now. I mean, yeah, there's the deck I've been using for a while. It's the same you just showed. I have a 2-inch 16 track standing there covered in dust.
Oh no.
So yeah, and I have a couple in the other room as well. So yeah, I have like, well, not a lot, but some experience with tapes, and I enjoy using them. But if I had to use them to record music, I would probably just, I don't know, like shoot myself something. It's just terrible.
It seems like it would be a massive hassle by today's standards. Certainly without, well, I'd imagine you'd need a really, really good console, like a big console, at least.
Yeah, it's not you can enjoy this experience like once or twice, but if you really have to work, it's just not enjoyable. It's really slow, and yeah, and it requires a lot of care, especially in gain staging. So I think it's a lost art a little bit.
My first studio experience was recording to tape, and it was, yeah, you have to be patient. You know, I just you finish a take and it's like, oh, you want to do it again? You got to rewind the tape, and by that point, it's like, oh, I'm not ready. You know, we turned up and like we were ready to go, and he was like, sorry guys, I just have to clean the tape heads. That's 30 minutes of us waiting for him to clean the tape heads. You know.
Yeah, well, engineers should do this before the session though. So it's just
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But there is something, I think, from a experimental tinkerer's perspective, there's something I've always quite fancied the idea of having like a stunt tape deck that I could kind of grab whilst it's recording and mangle about so that it screws up the sound, or, you know, do very, very pitch, very speed things, or, you know,
you can do this with any decks, especially like I guess the older ones. I mean, engineer won't be happy, but
no,
they build like tanks, so it's unlikely we'll do anything to them apart from, I don't know, like maybe screwing up the motor, which is the most expensive thing. Yeah, but in all honesty, they're really sturdy and can really take a lot of beating. And you can find pretty inexpensive one if you'd like to experiment. So it's awesome. You can go into the whole kind of tape echo thing.
I've seen like Akai ones that are sort of the cheap kind of 80s home recorders on eBay for sometimes for a few £100. But then I'm just like, where would I get tape? Where do you buy tape?
Yeah, new tape is produced. You'd be surprised. It's
Really?
it's pretty expensive. It's like
I bet.
20 euros per roll of tape, I think. But you can reuse it. It's not like you open it, record something, and just throw it away. You can reuse it.
But then
And
doesn't it degrade if the more you keep
it
using
does degrade, but that's the point. I mean, for the effects at least. That's I deliberately used. I have. It's a bit of a mess because old tape sheds. It sort of splits into layers. The magnetic sort of compound on the tape just sheds from the actual tape. But if you get a good old tape, it just sounds this a little bit kind of oldish sound. The high frequency roll off is there, and sometimes it slips a little bit more. So it has this high frequency roll off as well. So it just sounds a little bit nicer. And for in terms of the effects, I think it's just worth it. And it's like peanuts in terms of cost.
And so how has your sort of first, actually, I don't know how new you are to Max, but I would say that this is your first serious Max project.
Oh yeah.
How's that been?
Yeah, I mean, it started with you guys. We discussed it on one of the meetups or podcasts, and then I thought, okay, like if these idiots can do it, I can probably do it. So I just started experimenting, and I probably like opened and closed Max a few times. I guess I would say a dozen, because it's just overwhelming, you know. And basically you guys just said like start with something small, and that's where I started. And I think the first thing when it worked, I thought like, oh wow, okay, it does work. So I guess I started like last summer or something, and I gradually decided I was unhappy with the limitations of Max, I think. So I started doing in Gen pretty early, and Gen sort of is fascinating shit. Like it's very simple, straightforward. It's just pure math. If you know what you want, it's very easy to achieve. And sometimes it's just a matter of understanding what are you trying to do rather than kind of understanding Max or understanding Gen. So I think that's the sort of the difficult part. You have to understand in your head what's going on with each particular kind of effect. So yeah, that's where I started, and it wasn't all that bad, I guess. I'm not proficient in any way, of course. I'm just still an idiot like I was like maybe 6 months ago, but it allows me to get things what I want, and I'm very happy with it.
I'm quite impressed how quickly you got it. How quickly you got it done.
I'm quite impressed myself, but I think it's a matter of Max, but not myself. So it's just how Max works. I think just clicks it pretty easily.
Okay.
But it's still a lot of reading, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you get to a point where you're kind of like, you know that you need to do something, but it's really hard to ask for advice on how to achieve it, because sometimes the goals are so subjective. But then sometimes what happens is that it's just like, oh, you just use that object, and it's like, oh yeah, that's it. But you don't. It's not there. It's not always there. You kind of, those are kind of, I find, the little kind of hoops you have to jump through, is sort of learning how to access what you need.
I mean, yeah. It's probably the biggest reason I spam you and the Max Discord as well, because I just don't know if this thing can be easily done, or I need to jump through hoops. And before I go jump through hoops, I'd better ask, like before I spend 45 minutes like trying to put something together, maybe there's just a single object which just does what I want.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to discussing them more when they're released. They will be released this year,
hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, but I'm excited myself. I really hate this VSTs. Well, not hate. Hate is a strong word. didn't like that every time I reinstall my computer or have to open old projects, it just doesn't work. So I kind of like the whole idea of Max. Just I keep everything, well, not Max, but Ableton in general. I just keep everything in Dropbox and I reinstall Ableton, and there you go. All my plugins are there. Everything is working great. So my favorite plugins are stock ones. So that's why I got into it.
So, Nick, I do have a question about curves. And before I say it, remind you that I am an idiot. I noticed
be sure to compress it like an idiot.
I noticed that this EQ in particular, it's like, it's got a more musical effect. I can just turn things up and it doesn't matter what I'm turning up, but it sounds better compared to when I'm using other EQs, even like a similar EQ. I turn it up and it just turns everything up. Compared to when I turn your EQ plugin up, I'm only getting like good frequencies.
Well, it just means you have all good frequencies, right, in your track.
No, no. I mean, I know exactly what Damien is saying. Like, you turn a normal EQ up, you turn the highs up, and it's like, yes, I have clearly turned the highs up. Whereas with curves, it's like, I've turned the sparkle up, I've turned the shine up, I've turned the air up. Like, it's doing something much different.
Well, I think it's what I like about hardware, I guess, because it's just a box, you know. It's some engineers kind of thought through it, and in terms of pull tech, it's a very simple box at it as well. So it's just 4 bands, and most of the beauty of it is exactly its limitations. So I think when you turn some, I don't know, like EQ8, it just gives you a lot of opportunity. You have to explore yourself and you have to know. And this old pieces of hardware were working good because they knew what engineers would like to use. And I think I just use the same approach. So you don't have this sophisticated kind of screen with your bands where you can like visually see how the spectrum looks like. And it's just the beauty of you turning 4 knobs, and that's pretty much it. But again, it just makes everything louder, you know, and everything louder just sounds better to us. So I know. I guess I understand what you mean. Like when I first got my Pultec clone was this cheap, very inexpensive, but I can't say it's bad. It's a really good one. It's a Clark Technique.
I know Clark.
EQP 1A.
I always
sorry.
thought I'd get the Clark if I was going to get a clone. I'd get the Clark one because it's only like
Yeah,
200 quid.
It's really, really cheap, and it still works and sounds good, and it has a lot of frequencies you can check. It still kind of is the Pultec in essence. It's just an extremely effective one at manufacturing, like all Behringer stuff is. And it's, if you want to get a hardware EQ, I really see no reason why not get it. And it's done well. I think I put like a good pair of tubes in it, but I don't think it changed much. So yeah, it's still a very good one. And keep in mind, like original Pultec high frequency was only 3 bands. It was like 5, 10, and 20. And now you have like 3 and 4, which expands this opportunity for you to work with. And I went a bit sort of bigger with digital because you don't have hardware limitations, so you can both boost and cut the high frequency. So that's not something available on Pultec, and you can't really cut the middle frequency as well. But it really is not a problem in a real life situation.
As inexpensive as it, you would still need 2 of these to use it on a master.
Yeah, it's mono. Yeah, if you want to process 2-track stereo pair, you'd need two, but one is extremely useful as well. You can like put a bass through it, a vocal. It's nice.
I like
Why-
it. I like
why
it with kick
is-
drums.
Why is that it seems there's relatively speaking, there's so few stereo EQs, or am I incorrect about that?
I don't think there's few. It's just that a pair is more expensive, and a mono one is already useful. So you can produce a mono, and it can already be sold well. While with stereo, you have to kind of put two of those together in a single box, which is possible, definitely, but it's just a bit more expensive as well. And not everyone wants a stereo EQ like Pulsec. I think I only know one. I only seen one mastering engineer which uses Pulsec as in the mastering, because otherwise it's something like much more fancier than that. It's usually some, I don't know, like well, massive passive or something like that.
If you were going to use one for tracking, to say run a master bus through it from a DAW, you could just do it twice with the left side and then do the right side. And then you don't have to match the settings. Because if you had two, you'd have to like really match the settings if you were going to do it in a stereo, on a stereo mix. Just do it like twice.
That's why yeah, definitely. So you can, that's what I did as well a number of times. So you can run this like twice. But that's, I guess, well, not guess, it's why mastering sort of grade gear, hardware gear is so expensive, is because you have to match each channel, you have to very carefully match each component. That's not super easy. You have to design for it during the engineering phase as well. So mastering gear is like really expensive because it's really, really precise. But with plugins, like, who cares, you know, it's like the same code. I actually had to put differences between channel in mine. And I'm not sure, by the way, guys, if you've noticed this, because it introduces sort of tolerances for left and right channel on the EQ. And it makes left and right channels slightly different. So it introduces more width when you EQ through it, rather than just a pure, straight kind of dual mono, perfectly precise mix. So that's something I think hardware excels at.
So that could possibly be another answer to mine and Damien's question about
Widening
how
the sound a
it's
little bit as well.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't have your ears, and I don't know what your setup is, but yeah, whatever. If it helps you, I'm so glad. It's like warms my heart really, really nicely.
Oh, Nick, you big softy, you.
Well, yeah,
No,
I
right?
probably
Just a
didn't
big
phrase the question.
softy, aren't you?
I
I
am.
probably didn't phrase the question in a way that was very answerable, but I was just amazed because normally when I'm dealing with an EQ, like, yes, I can boost some things, and I'm not going to say I'm great at EQing or know exactly what's going on, but it's like, okay, boost it here. Some of these frequencies are good, but this, I can just crank up the highs. I'm like, yeah, that's all of what I want to hear from the highs. Oh, there's the mid. That's all of what I want to hear. And it's not, yes, there is in the original source frequencies I wanted to hear, but I could take something like channel EQ, which is kind of the same. It's, you know, very simple interface and whatnot, but I'm not getting the same results. But it's probably that, like, that little bit of saturation, that little bit of width. I don't know. It's incredibly musical. I haven't messed with something that colors the sound like that in a pleasant way.
Yeah, I'm just glad it sounds good to you, man. I'm really pleased to hear that. I'm honestly, I took my hardware unit, which stands here, and I sort of measured, because I get the same experience from hardware. It's like it's easy. It's pretty easy to get hardware sound bad, but if you know what you're doing, if you're familiar with it, I think it gets me there very quickly. And I did this because I think it was on Ned's album. Oh no, it wasn't on Ned. It was in another work, because I first mastered it with my plugins when they were in beta, and then I went in and mastered in with hardware, and I went like really fast with hardware, and it just sounded nicer. So I realized what I probably just these curves are probably better. So I just listened to my hardware, measured it, and I thought like, okay, that's what I'm going to put into it. And it's like it's not identical, but it's close enough for me to hear it. And I think it's just a matter of this very soft curves, nicely sort of done. I don't know. And again, there may be some sort of the hardware works in a bit of different way, at least like Pultec wise. For example, when you boost really high, it doesn't boost all the way like all these like sort of side frequencies. It makes this cut really, really precise. It makes it really narrow. Even though you boost a lot, it doesn't boost side frequencies just as much. So it boosts sort of very, very nicely and very, very mildly, I would say. So it's a really nice curves, I guess. That's where the sound comes from.
All right. Well, I think now's the time for a quick word from our sponsor.
Finally. Haven't heard from him in a while.
So, just to let everyone know that there's currently a 30% discount on the official Ned Rush merch shop. 30% for all of April. If you use the code NEDAPRIL, you can actually click there and it will copy the code so you don't have to remember the code. That's pretty useful, I think. And you can get 30% off these fine items. Compress It Like an Idiot sticker. Stick it on your favorite compressor and compress it like an idiot.
Can we buy one for Ned for him to wear all the time? Like, it would be fun.
Well, I guess I could just order a sample and just wear it. I just want to give a quick shout out to Bob Bell, who did the design for the Compress It Like an Idiot thumbnail. Just a quick shout out to him. Okay, I'm going to stop talking so softly now. Let's go back to having a normal conversation.
Does anyone else look at Compress It Like an Idiot and see like 1010T in the end instead of idiots? I always think it's like...
Yeah, it does look a bit like 1010T.
Yeah, it looks like a hardware version of something. Like, I always think like...
Actually, if you look at it upside down, it's the same. The I and the T.
Wow, magic.
It just keeps on giving, doesn't it?
Yeah. Good work. It's a sign of good work.
Well, quite. I was hoping to hear from John, because John sent me a message this morning. He's won some remix competition. It's quite a big deal. And do you know about this, Nick? You're nodding your head, like maybe you know about this.
No, I appreciate a fellow guy winning something. It's
I was
great.
hoping, I sent him a message saying, oh, come on and tell us about your, but he must be busy. He's probably streaming on Twitch. But he won a remix competition. It's pretty cool. It's going to be released like on an album. It's pretty cool stuff. So
fantastic. If
you're watching, John, come on and tell us about that. I don't think he's watching. He's probably
well, based on YouTube, nobody's watching really.
There are 20 concurrent viewers, I'll have you know. 20.
And they are not nobody.
Yeah.
Well, one of them is
They're
me.
All people. They care. They've come here to listen to you, Nick. They've come to listen to your sage words about Pultecs.
Okay. I'll do my best not to disappoint them or disappoint them. That's, it's fun. It can be fun as well.
We bring you on to disappoint them.
Yeah, that's why I usually come.
And you do a damn good job at it.
I know. It's my craft.
Yes, you are people. These are people. These are our people. They're here. Well, what do we do now? Where do we go? No one sent us any tracks, I don't think, to listen to. If anyone wants us to give feedback on their tracks, we'd be happy to sort of try and work out how to make that work somehow.
I can send you one.
All right. Well, I don't. You don't need feedback on. You don't need our feedback on one of your tracks. You're releasing stuff.
Yeah, it's true. It's already going to come out.
You're putting tracks out. I'm really here for the. I'm here for the disappointment. I'm glad to have been instrumental in your disappointment. The most disappointing podcast on YouTube. Compress it like an idiot.
That
Food for
should
the
be your
gods,
new tagline for your channel.
The most
The Ned
disappointing.
Rush, the Ned Rush channel. You're here for the disappointment.
The most disappointing thing on YouTube. It's not actual music.
Not actual music.
Yeah. Play some actual music. That was another. My sister said you should get "It's Not Actual Music" done on a T-shirt. But I didn't do that because it was perhaps a bit too off-brand. But
No, I kind of love it. It's probably the best thing you'd have there in the store.
if someone's
Like
just
I
posted-
come for
Oh, sorry.
disappointment and play some music finally.
My disappointment was met. 10 out of 10 would definitely come again. That would be the TripAdvisor
5 stars.
review. 5 stars. Someone's just posted something in the Post Your Music Discord. Is that someone who's in the chat? Because everyone's got different names. It's a video and it just says, just released my euphoric techno rave pop track, heart emoji. Did someone in the chat do that? Or is that just someone who's not listening?
Can we still play it? Like, what does it matter? It's your channel. I mean, your Discord.
I guess so. I mean, they've posted it in a public forum. I guess they wouldn't have a problem with that, would they?
I guess so. And it's like techno rave pop track. I'm sure they don't care.
Can you exclusive drop on Compress It Like an Idiot from the song is called Velvet Sanctuary. The person who posted it is Chrome Man from Discord. And it's been released with this. That is not my normal sort of thing, but I really dug it. I had a nice time.
Did anybody else get a little bit of like a Royksop sort of feel from it?
Yes.
There was a bit of that.
Yeah.
And I thought the vocal was reminded me a bit of Thundercat a little bit.
I can see that.
I think the
low falsetto.
And like that weird chord change.
Yeah, nice chord progression.
Yes. What'd you think, Nick?
I still listen to it in my mind, so.
All right, it's earwormed.
He's still chewing.
It's been earwormed.
I really like the sort of sound bath near the end. I want to hear the extended remix where I get a lot of that. I mean, the whole song was good, but where it was just the bath of sound with no percussion, I really enjoyed that.
And lastly, I'll say the restraint on the snare. It took a long time for the snare to come in, but once it did, it had that much more impact.
I don't think I remember the snare. I'm just thinking about I thought the vocal was pretty good. Thanks for letting us play that. Well, actually, we just played it anyway. We didn't ask for permission.
Yeah, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. I hope you don't mind us playing that. But I suppose that's a good way to test the format in terms of how people can, if people want us to listen to stuff. Oh, here's one in from FRO. Is that it's for the stream? This is it. This is happening. This is it now. This is it, guys. This is how we're going to do it. Fresh. Hang on a
Fresh,
sec.
hot, steamy.
How can I put it? I want to put it in.
Todd.
So this is from Jovian ZHM or FRO in the Discord, and whoever that is in the chat. Oh, these people have got so many names. Right, 1 second, 1 moment, please.
It's food for the gods.
Is that how it
It
is?
says, yep.
Okay, food for the gods. Here we go.
Fair enough.
Can you hear that? Is it coming through? That song was called Can you tell me if this is good? I like it.
I don't think that's the tough.
I don't know what the title is, but I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. The bass line, it has some rave about it. I was raving.
Old style dubstep.
Yeah, like vroom vroom bass, vroom vroom. You know vroom vroom.
The main thing I'd suggest is doing something with the snare. It pokes out. It sits on top of the mix too much. It needs to be embedded in a little bit more. Not sure if that would be compression or what exactly, or possibly even just a different snare choice. I didn't dislike the snare. It just, the way it sounds, you have the rest of the mix sounds good, but then the snare, it almost feels like it's pasted on top. Does anybody else know what I'm saying? And have any suggestions on how it could be remedied?
Well, I was listening.
Maybe it's not an issue.
I was listening with way too much compression on because I have you guys compressed like an idiot when I'm talking to you, so I was listening to it overly compressed. So it was not that what you just said. I don't know. Nick, what do you think? What you got some casual snare mix advice? Because it's always something that I find a little bit.
No, I quite like it. I think it sounded good on my speakers at least. I enjoyed it.
My speakers.
We have a party here in Riga which happens on a train. So you sort of ride a train through the countryside while raving inside.
Cool.
And
cool.
you go like
Train
all the way.
rave.
It goes for about like 3.5 hours, and it's if that song would play, I would probably go crazy. Like it was pretty awesome, I would say. I enjoyed it.
Train rave potential.
Yeah,
Train rave
absolutely.
potential.
Train rave potential, 100%.
How does that not get a kind of sort of claustrophobic? Because they're quite narrow trains. I
mean,
they take all the seats out.
No, it's like a regular ride. There's nothing extraordinary other than like a DJ and the lights, and everyone's drinking booze. So, and it's an awesome. It's the only party which I visit consistently.
Wow.
And it's once a year, so you can't miss it, you know.
I wonder if there's any in the UK. That's if there isn't, rather, there's a gap in the market.
Yeah, but it's difficult to navigate as well. I know an organizer, and she goes through like a lot of hoops to get it organized. And you don't have like private trains as well here. You have to like get an agreement with like people who own trains and own the rails. So it's a difficult conversation to have.
So before we get totally sidetracked by trains, food for the gods. The comments on the track. I really liked I don't know, the big pad synth thing, how it had that sort of gated stop. And then you ended up doing the same thing with the vocals. It's really cool. You mentioned in the Discord if it kept you curious. This is just me, and so feel free to disregard this as this is what you're trying to do. The beat was the drum beat was the exact same through the whole thing, and I know that's the kind of the thing for a lot of drum and bass. But I think if you wanted to keep people curious, you could change it up a little bit. I mean, you could have long sections of that same drum loop, but maybe some snare rolls, or it chops at certain places. If you want to keep people curious, have it drop out suddenly and come back for some intensity. Other than that, I think it was really good. Really long build to a really raving tune. Great sound choices. Really loved all that was going on. I can't say too much about what Gus was saying. I am listening on my TV, so nothing like particularly sticks out. But yeah, that's just my feedback on it. Maybe if you wanted some curiosity, some fills, some dropping out. But I know drum and bass, it's kind of the same throughout. So if that's what you're trying to do, cool.
Between you guys and the chat, my snare comment has been completely overruled. So disregard.
Overruled.
Maybe it's my headphone.
But yeah, I mean, take everything everybody's saying with a grain of salt, except for Nick. I mean, he's going to be brutally honest with you.
And also wrong. I
I
wanted to say with regards to the drum beats, because I like quite sophisticated drums, and these were not, but I really thought, like, why does it sound so good with like this simple drums in? Because and I like the change in the middle when it goes like to like, I think it was like spot on.
Okay, nice feedback, everyone. I like
Very
it.
unlike me,
Keep
isn't
going.
it? Like I say nice things.
Well, I don't know. I thought constructive. Certainly, always constructive. For certain. Okay, well, thanks for sending that in. I had a nice time. And if anyone wants to send any more in, Damien, you're much better at this than I am.
Yeah. If you have tracks and you want us to check them out, drop them in the Ned Rush Discord. Probably
Drop
tag
them.
Ned so you can see it. I'll keep looking for it as well.
Drop them in the Discord and we'll drop them on YouTube now.
Drop your tracks.
And now it's time for my new segment, which is called What is Ned's Vape Flavor of the Week?
I'm very much interested in this.
I had to find an alternative because my regular vendor was without my flavor. So this week I have been smoking cherry ice menthol. And it's tasty and a bit weird. I feel like I've just brushed my teeth every time I.
That's my issue with menthol. It's like it ruins your. It doesn't ruin, but it makes like drinking beers or other beverages kind of difficult because everything is blended with menthol.
Yeah, you know, like when you've just brushed your teeth and you drink some orange juice. It's like that all the time. But there's that little twinge of cherry at the very start that I can't really resist. But I would not.
What?
It's cherry flavored.
It's not the cherry that you can't resist. It's the nicotine.
Well, there is always that. But so I would not recommend this flavor if you're into. But I'm stuck with it now. So,
Is it nicotine though? Because I'm not sure.
They better be. Otherwise, I don't know how I'm maintaining such a calm demeanor.
Do you still kind of feel the need to smoke even if it's nicotine free? Because I know there are nicotine free liquids as well.
I won't do nicotine free liquids. There's no point. It's like drinking non-alcoholic beer, which I have tried, and it's quite tasty. But
I think the idea is you would start with like high nicotine, and then step down, and then step down, and then step down until you get to zero nicotine, where you'd just be, getting the mechanical fix of like smoking something. And then after a while, you would just stop that altogether and be inhalant free.
it hasn't worked for me. I'm still craving that good nicotine thing in the throat. Anyway, so that's the end of my new feature. Let's move on, shall we? What have we got up next? Perhaps a word from the sponsor. 30% off the Ned Rush official merch store you can buy.
Feels like a bargain, honestly.
We've got men's and women's t-shirts, and we've got baby onesies, and a pint glass. I'm looking at tote bags, considering tote bags, mouse mats, maybe even underwear. I don't know. I thought that might be going a bit far. Perhaps like mugs maybe, and then you'd be a mug if you bought one.
Now, Ned, can you look into getting a Ned Rush trucker hat, but having Ned Rush printed here on the bottom of the brim rather than here?
Very interesting. They were quite sort of, well, I should say not perhaps very flexible in terms of where you can actually put the design. You kind of have to. They do have ones where it's sort of like it's not like that you can put it somewhere, but you can kind of pick a design that will put it in a specific place. So you can have it kind of go all over the whole t-shirt, but you can't like have it like here. You can't just say I want it there. They need to have an option for it to be there. So
That was a long way to say no. Food for the God says, show off your isotonic or your stuff on isotonic. I think you should show off some of your Max devices, Ned.
Can it
Hey,
be the
well,
next
right now.
sponsor, Ned?
What?
well, I mean, I can. What like I'm. Hang on a minute. Hang on, I'm gonna mute myself. Carrot, take care.
Yeah, okay. In the meantime, I do have a question for user friendly.
What?
So the last album you put out was on Detroit Underground, correct?
Correct.
Are you working on anything currently?
No. I mean, I'm always working on things, but I don't have anything in the works. Like the Detroit Underground album, that was, they approached me about an album, and I made them an album, which works really well for me because I just generally am kind of experimenting and, you know, messing with stuff, whatever, so on and so forth. So it was nice for them to kind of ask me, hey, you know, would you like to do an album or whatever, and me be able to kind of just kind of make one for them rather than sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to make an album and then I don't know what I'm going to do with it. The only other thing I do have coming out is on the I can't remember what it's called. This is embarrassing. It is the Point Source Electronic Arts Genome
Shit,
3.
Yeah. That's next week.
Yeah.
We should talk about that as well. That's actually
Yeah.
fresh.
They're having a listening party April 5th from 3 to 5 Pacific time.
Let me see if I can look that up.
And the compilation will be out on April 7th on Point Source Arts Bandcamp page.
It's Point Source. I always type in Point Source Electronics. Point Source. Have they got a website? No.
No, it looks like it is Point Source Electronic Arts. It's just their Instagram handle is Point Source Arts.
It's not on the Bandcamp yet. Maybe we can look at the look at their Discord.
While you're looking, can I ask a question as well? Because I know you post a lot of stuff on YouTube, which I enjoy, and I'm sure everyone else enjoys, and on Instagram as well. So I can't really grasp what's the difference nowadays between, like, are you working on something, and if you're posting like complete tracks on YouTube, which were just not released on Spotify, whatever. So what's the difference though?
All of that is just sort of faffing about with gear.
I know,
Stuff
yeah,
that
but nowadays, what's the difference between a finished track and, faffing about?
I look at it that way more and more, actually. Especially given what people's general attention span is. Anyway, this is a really cool thing they're doing. They've done a couple of them, but basically it's they send you a load of samples to work with. You make a track with them, and then donate some samples for the next compilation, and so on and so forth.
And I'm on it too,
Awesome.
and so's the fellow passenger and some other people who I don't know. But we're going to be on a compilation together, yay!
Access to Arasaka, I love this guy. He's the only one good there, so.
And they are having a listening party on this Twitch low-key Doom 666 Doom fam. That's a solid name. on the 5th at 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Summer Time. What's that in UK time? About now? Probably about now, I suppose, isn't it? So come and check that out, viewers. I'll post that in the chat as well. Go and follow, give them a follow. New music coming from people here. Also, someone was asking about Ned Rush isotonic stuff. Today I discovered that Ned Rush is now in the Psytrance canon. I was sent this video. Ned Effects Lucky 16. Can they Psytrance? So Ned Rush is Psytrance now. There you go. This guy did a brilliant video demonstrating them. This is Dada. I'll post that in the chat as well. You can go and watch that. Give that guy a follow. He's into wacky sounds. So, and it was, there were moments when he was playing around with it and it made a funny sound and he let off a little bit of a chuckle. And that's quite satisfying for me. It's those little dribbles of joy that it brings into people's lives. They go, oh, it did a funny sound. That's good stuff. So,
I'd argue it's why we do this.
Yeah.
I would like a little bit of a kind of elevated response from things that I would like people to go, oh, and feel elated. Okay, what now? What do we do now? Any more questions? Any more tracks in the chat? No?
Nick brought up a good question because he was asking about the posts that I make on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, and how it's just a short clip, but like, what's the difference between that and releasing music altogether? And sure, like, obviously it's not the same thing entirely, but like, I do think it's kind of like a good question. Like, what's the difference between releasing like a short 30-second clip versus releasing an entire track or album or whatever else, which I think we've actually touched on this on another Compress It Like an Idiot, but I thought it was a interesting observation from Nick, which he has very few of.
Can I reframe the comment there? Would you say that makes you more or less prolific than someone who, say, releases an album once a year? You're kind of posting work every day. They may not be complete pieces of music, and even that kind of can send you down a bit of a topic of subjectivity. What constitutes a complete piece of music? I mean, you've put the hours in. You've made decisions about how you want it to go and how you want it to sound, and then you've executed it. I would still say that although it's short, it's still a composition. So I would say that makes you rather prolific if you're doing it every day.
And that to me, like, that's the kind of crux of the question is it's like you have to define what prolific is. And that's what I think is kind of interesting, because I do the same thing. Like, I don't view the short posts as like, I'm not releasing something. This isn't a finished work. This is like, it's just a short little piece of something that I was messing around with. But like Nick said, like, and what you just said, like, it's sort of the same thing. But I think it really just kind of comes down to what your definition of proliferation is.
I would say consistent and high quality from a creative person. Continue to spit out high quality work regularly.
I would even argue what nowadays releasing is, because I think a lot of our sort of understanding of what release is comes from what it was like through the years, when you had to go through the whole complicated, sophisticated process of producing, recording, mixing, mastering, printing, distribution, and shit like that. But nowadays, it's like what's releasing even means.
This actually,
releasing to the public, I would say.
I'd like to mention, some of you guys may follow him. Ottawa I'm a huge fan of his. He just released an album called Scripts, and the way the album was developed was he basically was posting throughout the past couple years. Every day he was posting short snippets of patches that he was working on that were developed with like generative music based around the teletype. And so once that time was done, he had all of these recordings from basic, and they were just short little snippets of larger patches that he was working on, but he was, posting them on Instagram, and took all of those recordings, sifted through them, picked out his favorite 17 tracks or whatever, and that was his album. And that actually inspired me to sort of start saving all of these little snippets. Then I can compile them together, pull the audio from them, and then use that audio as, basically more food to put back into the same machine. So a continuation of the resampling process. But either way, everybody should absolutely go listen to Scripts by Ottawa. I'll post a link.
Post a link. He got in touch with me saying he would very much like to play the next More Kicks Than Friends.
Ah, that's awesome.
Which,
when is the deadline for the next More Kicks and Friends?
June the 3rd. Exactly 2 months, roughly 2 months from now. 2 months. Go and make your music and weird pixels move around and send them to me, and I'll play them to 20 people. We have to try and break the record for the most amount of concurrent viewers. I'd like to have 100 people watching it at once. And if I get like bombarded with content, I may do it for the whole weekend. I might do a Friday night, Saturday night, and a Sunday night.
Did my links show up in the chat?
Pardon me?
Did my links show up in the chat?
The YouTube chat or the Zoom chat?
The YouTube chat.
No, I think only Ned can post links into the YouTube chat.
Send it to me in the chat. I'll post it in the YouTube chat. All right. Oh,
Instagram and Bandcamp.
I'm not signed in on. Lovely artwork.
I think the artwork is generative. Yeah, I think the artwork is generative as well, if I remember correctly.
Oh, there's nice, and this is on CD as well. Oh, this looks like a nice CD booklet. Oh yeah.
What's CD?
CD. It's like a really small vinyl. Remember vinyls?
I know what vinyl is. I'm puzzled by CDs. It's funny how vinyls just got ahead of CDs again.
I still think CD's best.
It's a bold statement.
I've always been a CD guy. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Yeah, so what next? Have we had any more songs? No. I thought all these people were into making music and stuff. Why haven't they got... Come on.
Called out, chat. Ned just called you out for not making music and watching YouTube instead.
I thought you were into... If you watch like YouTube tutorials about making music, you must make some. Actually, send me some. Let's listen to it and we'll play it on here.
Brutal.
Otherwise I'm going to go home. Oh, I am.
Well, you know, Ned, I would, but you shot me down.
Oh, well, you can probably play some of yours if you want. Well, yeah, but no, because I was like, we can just play yours just to listen to them. But like, I thought that you don't need feedback from us.
No.
You know
I will be so mean.
I won't. I'll be nice. I'll be very polite and probably give you terrible advice.
Just to Damien, I will be mean.
Okay, well, whilst Damien thinks about that, it's time for a word from our sponsor,
Again?
the Ned Rush.
Finally.
Ned Rush merch is 30% off for April. Just type in the code NEDAPRIL and get 30% off your order. If you click that button, it copies the code. You can paste that into your cart, get 30% off. Get 30% off the More Kicks Than Friends version 2 t-shirt, only in white. Don't know why that is.
Isn't it for samples as well? Can you like plug your samples out as well?
Plug
Oh
what?
yeah, your samples are on sale as well.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
You
I
are
don't wanna,
so bad.
I don't want to.
You're so bad at this.
I don't want to promote that because the I'm
Horrible.
currently waiting for a tech support reply from Gumroad about why the option to put the code in isn't at the cart. So I'm just doing the merch thing because I think this one works. There's the More Kicks and Friends with the Jurassic Park font, and you can.
Then I would argue you should still show off your samples because tech support will fix it, and people need to know why they need to get these samples.
All right, hold on a minute.
And now they'll know that if the code doesn't work, just give it some time. You're working on
Yeah,
it.
just give it. Yeah, we're on it.
You can go to nedrush.gumroad.com and buy my samples, particularly Shards 1 and Shards 2.
I use Shards 1 a lot, and
The
the
other
W.
ones aren't that good. The Shards ones are the best ones, I think. They're the ones I put the most amount of effort into. But you get gigabytes and gigabytes of content, all neatly organized into folders and categories and tempo and stuff like this.
Can you show us how you use Shards? Are they at hand?
No. They're somewhere on Dropbox. One of these has got a demo in somewhere. Here's
Come on,
the
plug it in.
demo. Oh, hang on. I'm not sharing sound. 1 second, please. Sorry. 1 moment, please, caller.
You're so bad at this.
Wait, let's just
Absolute
get
catastrophe.
out of my comfort zone.
Velociraptor.
Your music
That
made
was all
Nick leave.
Nick has left the chat. I've forgotten about
Hey,
that.
so
That was quite- that was
when-
the right track.
when you made that, do you remember, are you putting any sort of I mean, surely you're probably doing some like compression and stuff, but if you were to make a demo for a sample pack, you wouldn't have extra effects on top of it. You would just be chopping and using the samples as they are to make that track, I assume.
Yeah, so probably there might have been a bit of compression just on the whole mix, but I think probably what I did, because they're all a lot of that particular pack has got like they're one shot sounds, but they've got tempo in them, so that they're kind of designed to be played at a tempo, even though they're one shots. So there's lots of things with like rhythmic echoes and stuff on them. So probably that was probably all in a drum rack. A whole load of them were in samplers with velocity switching, and I was using random velocities to trigger all the different sounds. And probably the pattern was quite basic, because the sounds are changing all the time. It sounds a lot more complex than it was. But yeah, that was probably all just the samples.
I made a post with shards.
Yes, I think that was how I found you. On the rhythm. You gonna post it in the chat?
I'm seeing if I can find it. Give me a second.
I'm not sure I can play Instagrams because I'm not logged in. Maybe you can just play it. Can you do a screen share and just play it?
It doesn't matter anyway, because the post I made has other things in it, so it's not all just shards.
Also, the artwork was procedurally generated in Max using the samples as the source for the mesh deformation.
Nerd.
Yeah. The reason why I'm intending to run a discount on Gumroad is because later in the year I'm going to migrate them all to Isotonic Studios, where they'll be available there instead, because Gumroad's crap. Sorry, Gumroad.
You are not good at this.
Crap website. So, what's happening in the chat? Not a huge amount. Send us your music.
And questions.
And questions, yeah. Come on, we're here to, I mean, I can see that we're already getting sick of each other. I can tell that Nick's already bored to death.
He was bored to death when he got here.
He was bored to death before he even joined the call.
My regular state, so don't be.
Yeah, he
offended.
stays bored.
Yeah, consistently bored.
Yeah.
Whereas I just suddenly get bored. And no one wants that. I'm rendering something as we speak. We've already done food for. We'll just listen to only Food for the Gods tracks for the rest of the evening. That's what we're going to do.
No, I decided I'll send you something, and then Gus can be mean about it.
All right.
Yes.
Click off. Click.
Yeah.
It's a terrible podcast.
People are paying to hear me talk.
I know. Was it? I know you're full of snakes. No one's going to know what we're talking about. No in-jokes on the live stream.
If you do get that, shame on you.
Click off.
God cracks me up, this shit, all the time. Oh, goodness.
It's good, isn't it? Right. So.
Very good.
Although I've been watching some of his like live streams, and they're not really as interesting. They're just sort of other. He started doing live streams with like people, and just talking about current affairs and stuff. And I'm just like, it's just another. I feel a little bit disappointed he's revealed his face. I like it when
Stay in your lane.
I just like it when people are just an idea and there's no identity. It's just their content, you know. But
That's a very British thing. It seems like a lot of, I don't know, British people in the music scene like the no face aspect to things.
in some contexts, yeah, I feel that that was what I liked about Autechre. It was years before I even knew what they looked like. I've been listening to them. There was just there. I think it is that very kind of like 90s post-rave thing of like, we're not about the image, you know. which I subscribe to. Not that I'm against people who like to use their image or do, work with their image for their brand. But yeah. Oh, you've sent the track.
I did.
Okay, stand by, everyone. It's
It's
time
not mastered. I mean, I just sent it off for mastering. It's going to be on the Bang Face Suck Puck compilation. Coming out.
The Bang Puck Suck Face compilation.
Yeah, dude, I messed it up bad.
Did I do share sound? Sorry, guys. Oh, it's just on anyway. Okay, that's good. All right, here we go.
I'm an artist. This is my art. Are you ready for my art? Let's fucking go.
Yes.
Wow, that was very nice.
Click off.
Click. That was a sample from The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, I think.
Yes, it is.
I recognized it.
I would like to mention the bass line in it. That sounds to me like it's more or less just like a distorted sine wave,
Yeah.
which I think is just like such a golden piece of advice with sound design. Is like take a sine wave and distort it. It'll sound really, really fucking good, and will work just right, like perfect.
Especially if it's like the bass element, because it just cuts through so well.
And the way that like you have this extremely complicated breakbeat.
Yeah.
If you were to add then on top of that an extremely complicated bass line, it would be like, this is too much, this is too much. Whereas for the complicated breakbeat to like cut out and give way to just like straight sub bass has a fuckload of impact.
Yes, totally. And I did that all live in one take. So, a lot of that impact comes from me needing to take a break.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And is that carves?
curves.
Curves?
Or what?
So
What?
the effects you're using on the breakbeat, it sounded a lot like what was the one that Duncan just released? I think it was Carves. The Max
So
one.
that's actually it is a modified version of the circa 97 drum rack, which you can get from the Ned Rush Patreon if you subscribe, and you have to go back a little bit. But that was the basis for it. I changed some things around, add different ones, but a lot of the different effects that were happening in like there was no additional effects except for some of the Nix EQ that we were talking about earlier, some like light mixing. All of those were just samples I was triggering on the keyboard. So all of the crazy effects were in aim and break, put through a bunch of effects, and then just a little bit of it. And I think they're all net effects, is what all of those sound.
Okay, gotcha.
Did you like program it, or was it like performed from the keyboard?
That I was just you walked away because you weren't paying attention to me.
I had to go and get another shandy.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did that all live in one take. I just sat down and played it.
Nice.
The only way I changed it at the end is the last bass note. I had to change the velocity it was at, so it played a different bass note that didn't last for like 45 seconds.
Never underestimate the power of just playing things in with your hands. You don't have to always.
That's how I have to do it for chopping the break beats. I know I can let some plugins do it, but if I want it just the way I want it, I gotta play it with my fingers.
Yeah, cool track. That I particularly liked the bass. Was that like? I'm sorry if I walked out and you said this already. Was that like a samples that you were just triggering samples of a sliding sine wave, or?
So yeah, that's just circa 97, but modified.
Oh, modified circa stuff. Good. Very nice. What did you think, Nick?
When you took off your glasses, I thought, who's this guy? No, I mean, I like today is, I don't know, like it's on fire. All three tracks were up my alley for sure. This one sounded great as well. And I actually, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me, maybe it's stream. I always miss a little bit of low end, like sub bass coming through. I'm not sure if you have a low cuts filter there, or maybe, I don't know, maybe mastering engineer will address it. Maybe it's not a problem at all. I don't know. I just want a little bit of that meat in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's my only comment. I really want that meat.
I think that's the stream coming through, because
I don't think it's me, because I'm not running it through anything. It's just I'm just sharing computer sound.
I think that's what it is. It's
probably the codec.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because most of the thing I get to hear on the stream is sort of doesn't do in the low end department for me.
Okay, good. Well, I'm having fun. This was a good idea. I'm glad I thought that we should do this. Just a little impromptu listening party, chatting about things. I think Food for the Gods is rendering out a whole playlist for us right now to keep us going. I don't know where Alan is. Alan was going to join. He's been making lots of music too.
Oh, Ned, can you talk about the music that you've been making?
What, with Steve?
Yeah.
We are very, very close to the end. And then I maybe might give it to Nick to mix. I don't know yet. If I lose confidence, I'm going to send it to him. But we are very, very, very close. I'd say 80% of it's done. And then there's this one special track in the middle that's sort of taking most of our attention right now. But it's got some good stuff on it. I'm very excited.
Long play or extended play? What is it?
It's somewhere in between. It's going to clock in at about 40 minutes.
Okay.
But it's only going to be about 8 tracks, but some of them are pretty long. and it's been an interesting sort of fusion of our different influences. I don't know if I'm giving anything away, but like we were sort of thinking, we were thinking like, who's going to like this? And we came to the conclusion that it's people who like Bowie, Radiohead, Talking Heads, and Square Pusher, and maybe a bit of Prince. That's kind of the diaspora of our influences, if you will.
When you said you're making together something with Steven, I thought that's an interesting mix, because I'm very much interested in this, honestly.
Well, I can tell you that it's the first project I've worked on for a while where they're actual songs with verses and choruses and singing, which I haven't worked on for, I don't know. I mean, how long I've worked on a song rather than
There
a
you
track.
say it may be an actual music finally.
It will be. You'll be able to sing words along to it once you learn them.
Nice.
It's actual songs.
Any explicit lyrics in there?
Explicit ones.
Yes.
Well, there explicitly are lyrics, but they're not. There's not necessarily explicit lyrics. Oh,
No.
No explicit lyrics.
No, we're not. We're
Click off.
Keeping it clean for the children, mother sucker.
I'm a bit above. I've never been a big fan of that anyway. I think there's only a handful of songs where I've considered it to be totally necessary, and one of them's probably "Killing in the Name" by Rage Against the Machine.
And the other one is the track that Damien just posted. Didn't
Well, that
that
was
have
the-
explicit? Oh, I thought he said. No,
He said
he was
hell.
saying something. That's explicit.
The beginning had
Does
the
it
F
require
word.
a
It had,
warning?
had an F bomb in it. The beginning
That's what I
sample.
thought.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, F-bomb's all right. The odd F-bomb here and there is all right. That's fine. Okay, we have another track from Food of the Gods, and this is called. Hang on, it's starting, but I'm not ready. Oh, the SoundCloud player is a bit. How do you rewind? Okay, right. I've done it. So we
Ned
have
Rush
another.
struggles with technology.
With
The
it, yeah.
stream.
I'm not on SoundCloud much. I don't really know how it works. Okay, let's go. Wow, that was also very nice.
Very pleasant tune.
I think I enjoyed that more than the last one.
Excellent.
I think I liked the drums. They were funky.
Do you mean to the song that he sent previously? You like this one better?
I liked these drums in this one. I can hear the vibe is similar vibe. Sparse, atmospheric. I thought these ones had slightly more tasty drums because I like breaks and stuff like that. Nice track, mate.
I actually have comments finally because I like the track, but the bass for me is just a tad bit too loud, to be honest. I would just take it down a little bit and maybe put a saturation on it a little bit, clean it up.
You just said you wanted the meat.
Yeah, so
You're
it's
just
just
a
a bit
big
too much
contrarian.
meat. Just no, in this case, in this particular case, I feel it's just a bit too loud for me. It sounded a bit too loud, at least, and a bit too muddy.
I was listening to it again with too much compression on, so don't ask me for feedback on mix. But I certainly enjoyed the. I'm going to use a slightly pretentious phrase. I enjoyed the color scheme. The palette. I mean the palette. I like the kind of mellow atmosphericness of it. Good job, mate. Shall I post it in the chat so people can follow you on SoundCloud if they want? Shall I do that? How can I do that?
This track is private, so maybe not. Maybe just post their.
Is it private? Oh, it is. Oh, you're absolutely
Maybe
right.
post
Thank you,
their
Damien.
SoundCloud profile, not necessarily the song.
That's a good idea. Apologies, everyone.
I love how diligent you are, Mr. Blue.
Yeah, no, it's good. Otherwise, I would have
Thank
done
you.
that and made an absolute fool of myself.
The only reason there's any professionalism around here.
Yeah, that's why I got you in, because you're much better at this than I am. What's user-friendly put in here? Okay. Hold on a second.
A track.
Okay. Incoming. I'm going to click off.
Suspicious.
Wow.
Click off.
That was super good. That was
Great.
super good. So, all right. When I hear someone say acid music, I don't picture a 303. I mean, now I do because that's what most people mean by it. I picture sounds and music like that. The thing is very wet, very wild, and there's all sorts of, I don't know, rhythmic changes, weird things going on.
I'm with you on that. I kind of, even though that acid music is kind of, 303s and 909s and stuff like that. I've always kind of had this association with it of being just kind of like electronic psychedelic music, where it's kind of like your brain kind of goes, oh,
Click off.
so much data all at once, my brain. But I like that.
Yeah, in a pleasing way.
I have a tolerance for that. That's why I like crazy noises. What did you do that on? Is that all rhythm?
That's Ableton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it still has your sound, though, even though it's a different environment.
Can't seem to get away from it.
Okay.
No matter what I do.
never get away from it if you've got it. So that
Less
was
distortion than normal, but it was quite pleasant.
Well, I think a lot of the distortion usually comes from most of the stuff, like anytime I'm using hardware, it goes through the heat, which I'll often push kind of hard and then drum bus it again. Whereas Ableton stuff, I keep it pretty clean and then kind of do that track's not mastered. So like towards the end, I would starting to, squash and saturate stuff if it worked. But also, like, that was kind of one of the things when I started messing with Ableton. It's like, let me just make sure that distortion isn't a crutch for me. Like, actively trying to avoid just, distorting and crushing shit to make sure that it's not something that I lean on too hard.
What did you think, Nick?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, I quite like when sort of the tempo doesn't change as much. You can hear it just stops at some point, but I really like it. I've been a big fan of Mr. Friendly here for a while, and I think that's another sort of proof of his mastery. He's proficient at this craft of making noise. No, I mean, I'm also mean in a good way. I also have tolerance, like Ned, towards this sort of very unorthodox approach to rhythmical and musical ideas. So I quite like it.
Gus, have you ever listened to like any sort of 1950s, 1960s like musique concrète stuff? Like Pierre Henry and like Pierre Schaeffer, like the very sort of early French tape experiments.
I've dabbled in it, and I've actually thought before about like at some point trying to truly make like musique concrète, like cutting tape and stitching it together, like recording sounds to tape and then stitching it together and like doing it the whole way.
Yeah. I think some of the stuff that came out of that whole scene would be right up your street.
Yeah.
And stuff like Todd Dockstader as well. Have you ever listened to that stuff? Which I think is from the maybe the late 60s, early 70s. Let me see if I can. American guy. Yeah, lots of like found sounds spliced together, and really emphasizing the shift in space. That was kind of what was sort of interesting about it at the time, was that like no one was really thinking about kind of stitching two different spaces together. It was kind of the idea of recorded music was like, we capture a space, but they were like, oh, but what happens if you put two together? And just did a terrible attempt at French accent just then. But
I didn't even notice you were trying.
that's because I was just about to do it, and then I thought, no, don't do it. I'm just trying to think. Let me find the album.
We are going to have another track to play here in just a second. I can see someone getting ready to post it.
What was the one I listened to that was from? These are all, maybe these were re-releases. Maybe it was The 2 Moons of Quartermass. Maybe that was the one I listened to that I really liked. Anyway, maybe I can send you like a I'll send you like a YouTube playlist or something.
Please do.
It's cool stuff. Okay.
Have you made anything in that vein, Ned?
Yeah, like loads, but nothing I've sort of. I think maybe a couple of tracks have got like weird middle tracks where it's not music, it's just sounds cut together. But that's more like weird processing rather than editing.
So as far as like when you
got some old stuff like that.
If you would be working with tape like back in the day, are they able to like see on the tape some sort of indicator of what's happening, or was it more just kind of trial and error, cut, paste, listen, that doesn't sound good, cut, paste, listen, that sounds better? Do you see what I'm asking?
Yeah, I've never done anything like that other than kind of like doing it on like home tape decks where I would just kind of pause at the right moment, but not like actually cutting the tape and splicing it together. I reckon probably what happens is that you're either able to kind of pause the transport at the right point, or perhaps even nudge the tape across the head so that you can find like an exact point. And maybe you have to do it by ear, or maybe use like the VU meter to know that like whether there's any signal or not. Then you do a cut. It's never something I've done. I do have some friends that are still into it.
The only thing I've ever done is with like cassette tapes, like a cassette loop where you just cut a section out, paste it together, and then just put it on 3 of the reels, so it just sort of loops around over and over.
Yeah.
And I forgot that like on an actual reel to reel, you could have the tape playing, see that it's at the transport, stop it, and cut there. That makes sense.
Yeah. Not something I've tried. I think I'd be too scared. Like, because if you fuck it up, then that's it. Your tape's ruined.
Click off.
Click off. It's a terrible podcast. Right. Okay. So
we do have another track.
We do, from Robin Booland.
Dr. Boland.
Okay. One moment, please, viewers. We are
watching a man attempt to use SoundCloud.
Booland. Let's click follow here. All right, great. Okay. And then suddenly we're at a bird sanctuary. Oh! Oh shit, sorry. I liked that very much. Yes, this is all good stuff.
Proper tune.
I closed the tab. I was going to post the user in the chat. Sorry about that. I can get it back in my history.
That checked all the boxes for me for what I want to listen to at a rave. Great beat, atmospheric synths, some bird samples in there.
Full-on journey.
Bird sounds
Yes.
as well jungle.
Head down.
I was thinking as it started, it reminds me of old Reflex records, and then I saw the brain dance tag in the description. I particularly liked the outro part. That was dramatic and melancholic, but also understated, which is, I think, the best way to do it. I like how the time-stretched amen snare is just never really gets boring. I don't know why I never get tired of that. It's like a timeless electronic music motif. And I was thinking about it. I was like, why do I even like that? Is it like, what is it giving me? And I couldn't work it out, but I'm always pleased to hear it.
Joy.
I'm going to quickly just dip into the history and go to that user's. I do find that SoundCloud autoplay feature slightly jarring. Does anyone know how to turn that off?
Oh, wow. We watch an old man learn how to use
I
SoundCloud.
haven't used SoundCloud.
I know,
for
but Bolin,
years.
I really liked how in the middle of the track there, we got a break from the melody and just got down to the raving for a couple of minutes. Like the intensity, and then you bring back in that mellow, interesting pad synthy sound back to bring us out. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, this is all good stuff. We should just start a record label, shouldn't we?
Hey. Says the man who doesn't know how to play things on SoundCloud.
Well, I won't do it. I'll just get and I'll just, I don't know.
I'll just make things try. I was going to say, I'll put my
Quality
face
control.
on it, but you won't show your face. So you'll just make things salmon and charcoal.
I'll be that guy who turns up at the board meeting asleep on the desk.
You will already be there asleep on the desk.
And everyone will be like, what are we going to do? And I'll go all right.
Well, I think we should do this again, but probably tell people that, hey, if you want us to play your tracks and talk about them, place them here. So people, have time to put them in a place and they're not trying to figure out where to give them to us on the fly. Because it turns out you can't post them in YouTube chat.
No, although I am worried that random people who don't really follow this channel will just post us stuff because it's just an opportunity, opportunists. I remember that happened once when I was doing a stream with producer Snafu, and it was just people.
Oh yeah, that's Twitch. Just advertise it on the Discord, so people that already follow you.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't want to be too sort of cliquey and about it, but I would rather not wade through people just sending us stuff that's kind of not really someone's R&B pop song would just be
Are you discriminating against your fans that make R&B and pop?
No. if you follow Ned Rush and you make R&B pop, I'd like to hear it, but I wouldn't want just a random showing up. I think you get what I mean, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm just
Am I being unreasonable?
giving you shit.
If I'm being unreasonable, I apologize.
No, I think chat agrees with you as well. But I don't know. Some time for people that are actually interested to do it. But
how about we hear some Ned stuff? Ned, put something of your stuff on.
No.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have anything to play.
Yeah,
right
just
now.
some
Doesn't have to be
anything
new.
else. Just
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and listen to my music.
Grab some lager, rinse, and repeat. Let's hear some Ned Rush.
I don't want to listen to my music with you guys right now. No, sorry.
Yeah, come on.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna peer pressure you. Chat, can you join me in peer pressuring? We are bullying now, which is not cool. Peer pressuring, not cool, but now is the chance to do it. So let's flex those bully muscles and let's hear some of Ned Rush music.
I don't know what I've got. Have a conversation whilst I think about that.
If you guys don't know, Ned Rush also goes by Rude NHS. I think that was actually the original name, and makes some very interesting music, which isn't necessarily what you'd expect from listening to the Ned Rush YouTube channel, but it's still quite pleasant.
He also has some merch on sale, 30% off. You can get.
Thank you for pointing that out.
No, don't distract him. He needs to pull up his song.
Let's have a look at the, currently 30% off for April if you use the code Ned April. I'm going to turn up the bass for extra ASMR. If you use the code Ned April throughout all of April, you'll get 30% off the Ned Rush baby onesie. Available in pink, charcoal, or baby blue, and indeed white as well. Thank you for watching. Okay, I'll turn that bass down now.
Now play your music.
Yeah, no. I saw some songs pulled up.
Yeah, you're the only one left. Come on.
I don't want to listen to my fucking music with you.
Hey,
what about?
You can
I shared
close
mine.
your ears
User
like
friendly
that.
shared his. We are all sharing our music in front of people live on the internet.
I can play you something that I made maybe exactly 20 years ago, which is on Bandcamp.
Perfect.
Yes, come on.
I wouldn't normally do this sort of thing. was a song I used to play to get all the girls dancing.
I heard some phase issues.
Fuck you. Click off.
That's what you should have played.
I'm wondering if I could somehow, next time I do a live set, I'm going to work some Ping Trip into it. I'm just going to fade in little bits of Ping Trip whilst I'm DJing.
No, the Thomas the Tank Engine. Since this is your channel, you get 2 songs
I
in a
forgot.
row.
I forgot
Play
about
Thomas
that.
the Tank Engine.
I completely forgot I made that for you. I was trying to make a user-friendly sounding song with Thomas the Tank Engine. No one's going to take me seriously No one's going to take me seriously as an artist after.
We've got a song from Nick now too.
Anyway.
Where's Nick's song? Let's do Nick's song first.
In the chat, what you didn't look at when we were talking to you.
Sorry,
Prepare to be amazed.
I was a little bit distracted by my own work. Okay, here we go.
Click off.
Very nice, Nick.
That was great.
Dramatic.
Very dramatic.
You should go into doing music for television.
Ooh.
I think that's got crime thriller Netflix show intro music written all over it.
It's very cinematic. Yes.
Yeah, I quite like depressing shit.
A lot of phase issues.
I've got something that will cheer you up. Grumpy Thomas. Oh my god, it's had loads of comments. I had no idea.
Look at the chat. Really? Look at the chat.
What happened? 30%.
So fucking bad at this.
30%.
You are so bad at this.
Oh, why
God.
have you written 30% off? Like 30
Oh my-
times? Oh, did you want me to? What happened?
Plug your shit, Ned.
What happened? Where's everyone gone?
Just finish your song. Go to sponsors. Cut to the sponsors.
And you're going to sit there and say intelligent music doesn't exist. Ridiculous.
I would just like to say
We have found it, ladies and gentlemen. The intelligent dance music.
44,000 subscribers on YouTube. And that's the type of stuff I post to say. Would just like to remind you that there's 30% off at the Ned Rush official merch channel. Women's t-shirts. Everything is there. I was just reminded whilst listening to that the tracking on the vocoder in Ableton is really good. Like, I don't know if you heard those kind of like synthy notes. That was just the vocoder pitch tracking the audio. It does like a really good job. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
That's where the phase issues come from. You've actually finally answered my question. It makes sense why it sounds how it sounds now.
Why? What are the phase issues?
It sounds phasey.
The vibe has been phased.
Hey, dumb question. Where do I enter the discount code on
I
know.
I'm on it. I answered it.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh,
You're
yeah. I'm
so fucking bad at this.
So
Just
bad.
let
I
your
can't. It's too much information.
let your people take care of you.
Thank you, Damien. I feel like I'm in a retirement home. It's all right, Grandad. Just be quiet. What do you want for dinner, Grandad? Star Wars. Who Who are you?
It's okay there, Pops. We'll put you in the recliner and I'll put on Empire Strikes Back. We'll get you some Budweiser. Don't you worry now, okay?
Star Wars. Beer.
Well, if there's no more tracks, should we end it here?
I don't mean to make fun of the elderly.
Star Wars beer time stretch snare. That's what you want.
Yes. Wow, how was the time stretch there at the end? That was just using probably the texture warping in Ableton, and then you can draw an envelope in to adjust the grain size. That was probably what that was. I mean, we could wrap up. I'm happy to keep going unless everyone's bored to death.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well,
they say we want more tracks. Well, send us more tracks.
Send us some tracks in. Yeah.
This is a music tutorial channel. So far, we've discovered that 6, maybe 7 people out of the 40,000 that subscribe to this channel actually make music.
I suppose without really telling anyone that this is what we were going to do, then it's a little bit sort of. But yeah.
I think it's time for an ad break.
Yes. Can I do this one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm gonna watch the ad, and then I have to go and replenish my shandy.
Well, pull up the screen so I can do the ad while you pour a beer.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
Can we see the full range, please?
I don't know how to get back to the. Oh,
you're so bad at this.
Sorry. Here we go. That's that.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go get your beer. I'm not going to do this forever.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember now, until the end of April, use the code NEDAPRIL to get 30% off all of this lovely Ned Rush brand merchandise. We've got the baby onesie, the pint glass, various t-shirts, stickers, slap them on shit. We don't care where. As long as you don't slap something that's dead to the sidewalk, you will get charges for that. Ask me how I know. But these are delivered in a wide variety of assorted colors. All Ned Rush brand approved. You can have it pink, charcoal. Charcoal is the appropriate color. We've also got hats, beanies. I really want a hat. We were talking about earlier trying to get Ned Rush here on the bottom. I don't know if that is going to happen.
There's a possibility of mugs in the future.
Mugs. If there's something you'd like to see, please drop it below. I had proposed hot shorts, or booty shorts as some call them, with Ned Rush along the back. If those aren't made, you will be seeing me in them. So I know you all want that. Please upvote that in the chat.
Duncan also had considered underwear, but thought that might be taking it a bit too far.
Let us know. I don't think it is.
Yeah, me neither. Think it sounds good.
This is a complete waste of time.
It is.
So are we going to talk Star Wars today or something?
What, on my live stream?
Exactly.
That's usually reserved for after.
No one wants to hear us talk about Star Wars.
I was hoping this is going to wrap up and we can like fart loudly without muting our mics.
Okay, well, we have. I suppose we
and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, good night.
That's the end of the show. Yes, I suppose we have been going for 3 hours, and it's nicely. Are we going 3 hours? Yeah. All right. So, thanks, everyone. Oh, Push Button says he wants to ask how he can send his bad music. Did you inform him, Damien?
No, not yet. On the Ned Rush Discord.
You can go join the Ned Rush Discord and go to the Post Your Music channel in there and post it. And if you don't do that in the next 5 minutes, maybe he's not a member of the Discord.
Well, you can always sign up. We'll be more than glad to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we wait 5 more minutes for more submissions?
Yeah, sure.
Give it 5 minutes and then we'll click off.
Yeah. I just want to point out. Oh man, I'm not going to pronounce your name good at all, but it starts with a K and ends with Chica. I'm going to call you K Chica. You think maybe you should stop making music? No, don't. That's how you get old and die. Look at what is it? Look at the Rolling Stones. They never stopped making music. Still alive. Still rocking.
I'm not going to stop.
Look at how old Ned is. Still making music. Still alive.
I'm going to keep going until I can, hopefully by the time, I mean, even if I get to 80 and I've got arthritis or something, I can't use a mouse, I'll just be able to prompt fucking AI to do it. Just say, I want time stretch aim breaks and Star Wars and beer. And see what it gives me. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, don't make music. I mean, you think if you make music, it will make you more famous. I think it will make you less famous.
Oh yeah, there's way better ways to get famous than making music. Make music because you want to. It's good fun. And don't compare yourself. Like, I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they compare themselves to their idols that have been doing it like longer than they're alive, or have like, way more experience than you. You can't compare yourself to that. Don't set your, like, oh man, I want to make, like, I like Aphex Twin. I want to make music like Aphex Twin. Don't compare yourself to Aphex Twin then. That's only going to bring you pain and disappointment. Set your own goals. Try and make stuff that you like. And don't be afraid to make weird stuff. People actually like to listen to that.
I would also question, if fame is your goal, why?
They didn't say it was, but
why is it? No, but because it came up in conversation, I'm always a little bit like, and I've got nothing against people where their goals are clear. Just think about what your goals are, and if your goals are you just want to bring joy and for yourself and decorate time in your life by consuming sound waves, then you don't need any advice from anyone on that. Just do it.
Food says, can I compare myself to Frank Sinatra though? Of course I do every day. We do have a new track
Push
from
button.
Push Button.
Oh, and it's got a cute dog in the picture. What kind of dog is that?
I love that's like the old school internet banner there. Very 2000s. Welcome to my website. Love it.
Okay, let's go. Just give me a thumbs if you can hear it. was very nice.
Excellent. Yes.
I enjoyed
Joyous
that a
bit of
lot.
music there.
I'm guessing that the dog in the song is the dog in this picture.
I
would
certainly hope
assume-
so.
I would assume that that is the case. This is an adorable little dog in a basket. I enjoyed that a lot. That was lots of fun. Interesting range of selections we've had this evening. I think. Okay, well, I think maybe we'll wrap it up there then, shall we?
I don't think you could ask for a better
Outro.
outro track to end on.
Yeah.
Quite. Yeah, I think that I feel I'm in a good humor.
We should have had some credits rolling during it, like 30% off all of April.
30%
Mugs,
off all of April.
Baby onesies.
Go and pick up a baby onesie, even if you don't have a baby.
You could put your cute little dog in it.
You could put your
Just
dog
cut
on
a-
the side of it. Wonder if
Cut a
I can
hole
make
for a
like
tail.
So push button says it is the dog in the picture in the song. Also, that's Evie, and the dog is Scottish. I could tell by the accent.
What? Type of is it a Scottish dog? What type of dog is it? I want to know.
Scottish.
Yeah, but that's not what Scottish. What? What is? I mean, what? What? It's not a Scottish.
Scottish cutie.
It
Yeah.
sort of looks
It's
like
a dog from Scotland. What more info do you want?
I want to know. That's not enough. Oh, all right. And it's not a terrier. It's I'd be interested.
Scottish, a Scottish floof.
I'm sated with that answer. It was nourishing.
Scottish floof. Okay, and so now I'm going to
Scottish
set up
hound.
dog neckerchiefs on my merch. Ned Rush dog neckerchief things. Okay. All right, that's it. We're done. I'm done now. We need to start talking like normal people. I want to take these headphones off. So thanks guys for tuning in. Nick's gone. Shall we just say goodbye to Nick now since he's not here?
Goodbye, everyone watching.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and thank you for sending us your tracks. I would certainly like to do this again, and I'll try and come up with a good system to notify people that we'll be doing it and to get you to send us stuff. Discord seems to be pretty good. It can stay there as well, so people who check in on the Discord can see what's been posted. And don't forget to buy the baby onesie. What else
You
do I
can
have
put
to
your
say?
dog in it.
Also,
Your
don't
dog
forget
in
your
it.
more Kicks Than Friends submission due June 3rd.
More Kicks Than Friends, deadline June 3rd. You've got 2 months to give me 20 minutes of original audio visual material, which I will stream on YouTube at some time in June. And that'll be fun. Then we'll all hang out, we'll have a bit of a party and watch loads of cool music. What else is there? That's it, I suppose. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and
Like, subscribe, smash that bell.
if you fell asleep listening to this, I'm really, really sorry.
And now some ads are about to play. Kill it.
Okay. Oh no, wait! Shouldn't I wait until like the stream's caught up before
Kill it!
I actually hit end?
Done. We're done.
Always.
It's over. It's
I was
over.
struggling.
Go home. Why are you still here? It's over. Why are you still here? Go home.
I struggle a
Mr.
bit
Rush,
with this bit.
we have your beer and Star Wars right this way.
Oh, thank you.
Come on, Mr. Rush.
And the blanket as well, yeah. Okay, I'm hitting end now. Click off. But the thing, like, if I end it there, then whatever. It's